Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Be college student me. Work in admissions office. It's boring and agonizing having to punch into the system those stupid college fare cards high school kids always fill out. Small college, but rich history and tons of too spooky haunting stories. Trying to burn all my work-study hours at the start of the semester so I don't have to come in later in the year. Boss lets me run mail across campus. Delivering packages and stuff to professors. One of them requires me going into the school's theater. Remember my drama major friends telling me the place is haunted. Normal delivery, nothing happens. Curious fucker though, so I popped my head into the larger theater because the doors were unlocked. Scan aisles and see that there's one chair stuck down, but nobody in it. Just a weird chair. Notice lights flickering and start to hear applause. Chair swings right back up. Feel a cold breeze blow by me and the door to the sound studio creaks open on its own back out of the theater slowly. Get back to work and GTFO to my dorm. Telling friends what happened. They share that it was Sister Anne, the nun who used to help with drama but died a few decades back. She does weird shit in the theater all the time. Nothing bad, not even scared. Sister Anne is a permanent fixture of that school's drama department. She goes to every play and is there even after hours. Saw or heard her at least 4 more times while there. We also had demons and a self-end victim on campus. Cool shit. The other Sister Anne story is that the theater on the second part of campus was locked up and set to be torn down, remodeled once the college decided what to do with it. One night the fire station got a call that the theater was on fire. When they got there, the place was burning to cinders and they were able to save it and a few of the students nearby. But when they tracked the call later, it turned out the alarm was pulled from inside the theater, which nobody should have been able to get into. School decided it was Sister Anne and now students thank her whenever they go by the building. Final, more college than work, but it's a good story. Freshman year living in a big dorm. Keep hearing stories, the dorm is haunted. Live on the top floor, above us is only an attic that is rarely used. See lights on up there from time to time and hear weird noises. Hear the legend of the Black Knights, a fraternity in the 60s who broke in up there and tried to summon demons but were busted by security before they could close the portal. One night we're sitting in a circle with friends drinking and swapping our haunting stories. One friend swears his door opens and shuts on its own. Another says his GF keeps getting woken up and sleepwalking, referring to the men upstairs. One girl says she watched all the showers in the bathroom turn on at once on their own. My roommate says he keeps hearing rattling chains at night. I think it's all too spooky for me, fun stuff, but nothing serious. The same week or night, I forget, our light keeps flickering. A friend decides to shout at it and blames the ghosts. Light suddenly stops and stays turned on. Hear a thump upstairs and dragging, like somebody is moving furniture, or a body. Lights start flickering all down the hallway, one room to next. We chase them shouting and fixing them. Get to the end of the hallway and the dragging and light business stops, right where the ladder to the attic sits. Nope. Friend decides to climb the ladder and bang on the door. Nothing happens. We all go back to rooms, no more spooky. That night trying to rest and keep hearing my roommate talking in his sleep, listening for fun. Talking about time travel, hell, spooky stuff. Laugh. 4 a.m., I woke up and didn't see my roommate. Get up to use the bathroom. The hallway is spooky. Somebody left the window open and the lights are still flickering, so it's cold and dim. Hear a fuzzy static like a rain stick. It feels like it's muting all other sounds. I can't even hear myself walking or breathing. Go into the bathroom and hear shower on. Check and nobody's there, so I turn it off. Take a piss. Hear the toilet next to me flush. Nobody there. Go to wash hands. See that sinks are all on. Turn off and leave the bathroom. Hustle back to my room. Slide back into bed and notice the time on the clock reads 3 a.m. Did I screw up the time earlier? Go to bed finally. Wake up extremely late, noonish. Roommate is pacing the rooms. What happened?
Where the hell were you, man?
Discovered that he also wasn't able to sleep last night and got up to use the bathroom around 4 a.m. He realized the clock was 3 a.m. when he returned and couldn't explain it. Tried to wake me up but couldn't find me. Waited an hour to see if I'd come back, but I never did. Woke up freaking out and wondering if I died. Realize we both had the exact same experience. Points out all the stuff on our walls and shelves fell off last night too, and he's been cleaning it for the past hour. Fuck. Never bother with the attic again.
Got some decent mall security guard stories. First real job after delivering papers for 10 years. Working with a security firm that is contracted to a fairly large mall. First day at work after training doing a 12 hours night shift. The firm is cheap and only puts 2 guards on night shift in a large mall in a heavily populated area. Working the cameras and radio while the second guard is out patrolling. Office located on a quiet hallway leading to the exit. Pretty relaxed, just reading a book since the entire mall is locked. Hear a child singing a lullaby echoing down the hallway. Maybe it's just my head. Look at the cameras and see a little girl walking around. Oddly enough, the girl's appearance on the cameras isn't continuous. It's almost like she is running between each camera, but every time I see her she is at a walking pace. Start to panic, but don't tell the other guard so I don't get made fun of in the morning for seeing apparitions. Girl is moving closer and closer to the hallway leading to the office. On camera she is at the beginning of the hallway leading to the office. Get out of the chair to look down the hallway, but right as I get up she walks by the office half door and looks at me.
Hi, Mr. Security Guard.
I ask her if she is lost.
Nope, I am just going home.
She continues to walk down the hallway towards the exit. Run to the half door to look through to see where she is going. She is nowhere to be found. Check the exit and it's locked. Get back to the office and see the outside cameras. See her walking away in the dark parking lot. All cameras are motion activated, so there must have been some movement for me to see her on them in the first place. Ask the other guard to make sure all the mall entrances are locked. The entire mall is completely locked. Look at the recorded footage. There is no one there, but that particular footage shouldn't even have been recorded unless the camera picked up movement. One of the patrols during night shift was a rooftop patrol. The rooftop did not have any lights and you had to bring your own flashlight. Being my first job and not giving a fuck, I never carried a flashlight. 2-man shift meant that one guard had to do it by himself. This was particularly troublesome as it was pitch black, trip hazards due to roof pipes, and the door had a one-sided lock that you had to keep ajar with a 2x4. Doing the rooftop patrol by myself one night and have this weird feeling like something was following me as I made my way to the roof. The hallway to the roof has HVAC machines, and as I walk the machines start whining. Okay, kinda spooked but with make my way to the roof door. As I open the door something moves in the darkness. Can't see shit, but a silhouette moves across the dots of the nearby apartment lights. Probably just a bird, so I don't call it in and place the 2x4 in the doorway so I don't get locked out. First time being by myself on the roof and can't help but feel being watched. I wouldn't be able to see anyone up there either unless someone walked in front of me and I saw the lights from the condos being blocked. Try to feel my way around so I don't trip, but the roof is almost the size of a football field and there are so many pipes. Walking around and the radio starts buzzing and I hear some words but they aren't English. Hear a screeching noise some distance in front of me. Hear the crunch of gravel under footsteps moving closer to me. Heart starts beating. Hair raised. Fuck this. They don't pay me enough, so I turn around and prepare to run for the door. I don't know what direction I am facing because it's pitch black and the light given off from the door is no longer there because the 2x4 has been removed. Start running in the direction where I think the door is with the crunching gravel noise somewhere still behind me. Trip on a pipe. Get back up and start running again. The crunching noise is farther away now. Find the door and by some miracle the door hasn't been locked because the spring was too stiff and the deadbolt didn't recess completely. Open the door. Run down the hallway and food court. Radio the other guard there is someone on the roof as I am running. Hear screeching of the food court chairs behind me but I keep running to the office. Other guard runs to me. Tell him what happened and we both go up there, this time with a flashlight. Look around and nothing. Lock the roof door and go to the office to report to the firm. As we walk down from the food court, we hear more screeching of the chairs. Go back and do nothing. Report to the firm and lock the office door and sit shoulder to shoulder scared as fuck watching the cameras. When I left there were still reports of the screeching of the chairs in the food court at night.
Friend buys property to a rehab. Do the usual inventory of everything we need to fix. As we're making our way through the backyard, we find remnants of an old carriage house towards the back corner. Further back, we find a large stone covered in weeds. Uncover tombstone. Inscription is badly worn, but we make out it was a child named Lily who died in the mid-1800s. Something about disease was written below her name and date. Can't make sense of why it would be in the backyard. Couple weeks later. Working on the plumbing in the basement. Constantly hear a faint, rhythmic tapping coming from directly above me on the first floor. Assume the house is settling or possibly a bug is munching on a joist. After a few minutes of that I hear the back door open and shut. The tapping noise stops and turns into something being quickly dragged across the floor, accompanied with a large scraping sound. Assume a friend might have walked in and kicked something across the floor. Go up to greet him and no one is in sight. Call it a day and go home. 1 month later, patching the foundation and an old neighbor comes to ask questions about who bought the place and the usual nosy neighbor stuff. Mention the tombstone in the backyard. He says he doesn't know anything about it. Goes on to explain that people would often bury loved ones in their basement if they died in the winter, since it was too hard to break ground above the frost line back then. They'd usually move the body in the summer, but that wasn't always the case. Guess it wasn't the case here. I should check with the family that bought the place sometime, see if they've experienced anything weird.
Be me 2 years ago working at a movie theater. Only 2 in town on opposite sides, owned by the same company. Ours was next to the mall of our yuppie town and thus larger, like 12 auditoriums. Getting close to Halloween, so co-workers are telling stories about spoopy shit around the theater. There's a little girl in Auditorium 5, and babies cry and shit. Auditoriums 5 and 4 are across from each other at the end of a hallway. Double doors sit between them. It's a dead end basically, the building is in a T-shape. Haha, very funny, but there's nothing there. I am one of 4 usher staff on hand in the middle of the day during the week. Me and a new coworker are working together to clean after a set. I'm pumped because I have a crush on him and we are alone. We have to go into Auditorium 5. Play it cool, don't fuck it up. We go in and start cleaning. The theaters on this end of the building are notorious for the lights not coming on even after the credits finish. I'm scared of the dark but toughen up and clean at the top of the rows of seats while Crush is at the bottom, and we work to the middle. Eventually get toward the middle, almost done, and it's taken us about 10 minutes. Pause for a second to look around and bitch about the lights still not coming on. Then look in the row behind me and there's a fucking shadow blob hovering around the seats. Holy fucking shit, I'm out. Stammer a laugh to coworker to finish up while I take the cans out. We bring trash bins with us, and nope the fuck out of there. Say nothing to coworkers ever until next Halloween and they shrug it off. Yeah, that happens. This is also from the theater but wasn't me personally.
There is a door to a staircase near Auditorium 1, the closest to the entrance of the building, that connects each auditorium's projector room via bridges above the ground floor. TLDR. Nobody can get up there normally and often no one knows you are there. Usher guy that gets into projector rooms and shit. Has a walkie to talk to the head of the Usher staff group as they clean during a set on a weekend night. Goes into the projector room of Auditorium 4 and peeks out the window into the room. All of the seats are down. That's weird because when ushers clean they put all of the seats up. Hey, did you guys clean the auditorium?
Yeah, we were just there.
Are you sure? Goes back to check and every single seat is up. Given that was in the space of about 3 minutes. This happened a second time, but the second time it was proven to be some teenage prick fucking with the staff.
Same guy also told me about a time he was wandering around near about 1 a.m. All ushers but him had gone home an hour or two before, and went into the projector room of a completely empty Auditorium 5, heard a baby screaming, and promptly left. On another note, I'm no longer at that job, but I'm about to start working at an allegedly haunted toy store. Be the only person closing the concession at 1 a.m. because of weeknight and boss says fuck you. Is just me, 2 managers, and an usher left in the building. All the patrons are gone. We have 2 concession stands but only open one, at the front, another is at the back, and you can see auditoriums 4 and 5 from there, during the week unless there is a big movie premiere. The stand stretches for forever and there is only one way in an open portion of the stand. Against a wall that comes to a door with required key code that leads to the kitchen and stock am mopping up in the kitchen. Fuck yeah, almost done, I wanna go home. Have an earbud in one ear listening to music and the other ear open in case a manager calls for me. Am over in a corner next to our soda racks in the kitchen. Something falls behind me and makes a loud thud on the floor. I am startled as fuck and turn around. It's a bag of popcorn from stock across the room. Those weigh like 20 pounds and are stacked evenly so they never fall. Maybe I fucked that up. Pick it up and put it back. Finish moping around the ice machine. Open the door back out to the stand. Pause while I pull my earbud out and turn my head back to the kitchen. There is a door at the back wall that leads to Auditorium 1 that can only be opened with a manager's key. I swear there is someone standing there holding it open and staring at me. Just fucking staring. I don't get paid enough for this. Run the mop and water out with me and hide by the manager's office door until one of them comes back and checks the stand. They have to check our work before we can leave. These are mostly, OMG I saw a spoopy thing oh no, stories.
It's late so I don't know if anyone will be reading this, but the security guard stories compelled me to share. Be me 20-year-old armed guard. Working at an old retirement home in a bad area. After about a month working there I met one of the residents, weird old lady, cute young in-home nurse in passing. I never got the chance to have a conversation with her, but we would always say hello if we saw each other. One night the nurse came out to the security desk in the lobby and looked distraught. Obviously, being security, I asked what the problem was. She then went on to explain that the resident was recovering from whatever illness she had. I never found out what it was. This was puzzling to me for obvious reasons, so of course I asked her why this was bad news. She just gave me a blank stare and said,
"You wouldn't understand,"
and walked away. When I heard the elevator doors down the hall open and close, I let out a chuckle and said, "Fucking weirdo." Later that same night, I heard the elevator come down and the doors open, but didn't hear anyone come out or go in. When I went to check it out and stood in front of the doors, I saw the nurse. She gave me the most creepy fucking half smile and pressed the button, and I assumed went back to the room. About an hour later, it was about 3 a.m. by this time, paramedics entered the lobby and said they needed to know where so-and-so room was, and me not knowing, I just told them it was somewhere on the 3rd floor. When they came down, they had the weird old lady on a stretcher and were giving her oxygen. The cute nurse wasn't with her, but instead it was another in-home nurse I had seen many times before. The paramedics took the old lady to the hospital, and I asked the other nurse where the cute nurse was. She looked at me like I was crazy and told me that she was the old lady's in-home nurse. Thinking I had residents and their nurses mixed up, I said okay and asked what happened to the old lady. According to this nurse, the old lady had been screaming,
"She's trying to kill me, I'm not ready to go."
All the commotion caused to have a seizure, but she didn't die, I don't think. At this point I put 2 and 2 together and I thought, fuck this shit, I'm done with this. So after that shift I requested other locations and never went back. But, and here's the kicker, I still had the building manager's number, so I called and asked for a backstory. Apparently the old lady had been really heavy into some satanic cult bullshit at some point in her life. And she also would always request her real nurse. I'm assuming it was the cute nurse I ran into. All I know is I'm not crazy, I definitely saw the cute nurse, and she definitely creeped the fuck out of me on that elevator.
I've got one from working with my dad. We work for a drain cleaning service on the East Coast. So we're mostly in basements pretty much the whole day. A lot of the houses are old, especially in this shitty town our cunt dispatcher always sends us to, so the basements are usually pretty small and short, which is a bitch for someone who's 6'2". Anyways, get to the job. Wait a while for the tenant to show. Guy with walker and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease comes up, nothing creepy about him. Dunno if he was a tenant or maintenance or what, I mean, he was overweight, had a breathing problem and COPD, so I doubt he was maintenance. Opens up the basement for us. We're checking the drains, everything seems alright. Dad comes back from the back of the place. Old guy says there's a room further back. Dad sends me so I can turn off the lights and stuff after looking in the back room. Head towards the back room, door is a bitch to open. Finally get it open. It's a cold day, but this room was legit freezing. Boxes stacked, blocking view of the left side of the room. Move some boxes so I can actually see the rest of the room. I thought this room was small, but it's actually large. Decide I should go further into the room. 2 sides separated by old wooden wall. Hear something fall, not a loud clanging or anything, just like if a bunch of leaves were to scrape across a concrete floor. All lights are still off, only light is from the basement window, which is a small rectangle. In the little area of light I see a shadow move from one side of the room to the other, just before the wall. Alright, not easily spooked. Turn the lights on, check the drains, whatever. But then, gets time to leave. The way this place is set up is there's a door on the side, then a door to get in that has a window, and then an old wooden door before that one that leads to the rooms in the back. Everyone else has gone outside already. I get stuck locking up and turning the lights off. Get to the door with the window. It's a bitch to close, struggling to get the lock to go for a while. Start getting anxious out of nowhere. Look up, other side of the door is almost completely black. See the old wooden door to the back rooms open, which makes it get a little brighter, and see the outline of a hand holding onto the side of it. Shit, shit, shit. Slam the door shut, it finally latches. Thank fucking God. Sprint up the small flight of stairs and slam the other door behind me. Dad and COPD guy look at me weird. We had to go back to that same place later that day because we couldn't get into the first floor the first time and I forgot to close one of the doors. Usually the only things I see are shit and weird things people flush down their toilets. I only come to /x/recreationally, but this experience has me questioning some shit. Of course, it could have just been a homeless guy who got into the basement somehow.
Be me working as a pub manager in the UK. Get woken up by the sound of furniture moving downstairs. Check clock, 3 AM, way too early for the cleaner to be in. Check CCTV, all lights off. Shit. Must be a break-in. I cannot see anything on CCTV, but I am still hearing furniture moving around. Grab a trusty 4-cell mag and bolt downstairs. As soon as I open the flat door, the intruder alarm triggers. Nope.exe. Flick all the lights on and wait a few seconds. Do a complete walk through the pub. All silent, everything in the right place, everything secure. Go back to bed. Don't sleep very well. Be me in the same pub a couple of months later. Sat in the office doing paperwork just after opening time, only staff in are me, head chef and a barmaid. Hear footsteps coming down the corridor. Footsteps go past the office and carry on before turning around and heading back past again. Shout out that I am in the office. Silence.wav. Stick your head out of the door and see the corridor is empty. Head down to the front of the house. Notice the flat door is locked as always. WTF. I have only one key. Nope.exe. Check on the chef in the kitchen. She is busy prepping and not being upstairs. The barmaid is busy behind the bar. Looks bemused when I ask her if she has been upstairs. Nope.exe again. Hang around the bar for an hour or so. Be me in the same pub a couple of weeks later. Just went to bed around midnight. Hear the shuffling sound from the room beside the bedroom. Try to ignore it and turn TV on. Shuffling gets louder and starts scraping against the wall. Go check the room out. The room is empty apart from a couple of boxes in the center of the room. No sign of rodents etc. at all. Nope.exe. Cannot sleep all night although sound never returns. Be me in the same pub about a week later. Get a visit from a previous manager who still rented a garage on the property to house a classic car. The pub is an old traveler's rest with an annexed old coach house that is now split into separate garages and rented out. Get chatting and he asks if I have children. I don't. He looks a little disappointed, so I probe a little about why he asks. He said I wouldn't have met the other resident then, and goes on to tell me about a phantom old lady who used to visit his children and read them stories in their bedroom. He thought she was a figment of his children's imagination until a previous tenant told an identical story to him. I don't mention any spooky goings on yet. He describes the children's bedroom as the one beside my bedroom and opposite my office. Later that night I sat in the children's old room and spoke to the old lady spectre. I told her there were no children to play with and she was making me feel uncomfortable. I also told her it was not her home anymore and she should leave. I never heard any mysterious sounds in the building again.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.